We got Charles. We've known each other like what, 7 years?
Yeah, I feel like, maybe longer. Yeah, seven.
It's been like almost
solid.
Solid. Where you from originally?
Sierra Leone, West Africa. Born, not raised.
Born in Sierra Leone, raised here.
Yeah, born in Sierra Leone. I came here when I was about maybe 2-3 years old. Mom, dad migrated over. I came here with my mom. Then my dad came a year later.
Yeah. Where'd you go to school?
I've been in PG County. So I grew up in PG County. I graduated from Bowie State. Pretty much started at PG Community, transferred, went to UMBC, and then transferred again and finished at Bowie State, both undergrad and grad school.
Were you like generally a good student in school? High school, college, would you say?
Oh man, generally a good student. That's a hard question to answer. So generally, I did things like, I was never like I never had problems academically, I would say. I think a lot of my problems was maybe sometimes behavior, some other things, but never academically. I was always a smart kid.
Where do you fall in terms of siblings? Like, you're the last?
Oh, I'm a middle child all the way. So I'm the last boy. But I'm not the youngest. So somewhere in the middle.
So in high school or going to college, what was it that you were like, listen, this is what I aspired to do in terms of career or hustle or whatever?
This is my story a little bit. So when I was in high school, I went to a very popular high school, like a really strong sports school. And I knew I wasn't gonna make it professionally. Like, it was just, the writing was just on the wall. So when I started, I always wanted to remain in the game of sports. So I started with physical therapy. So I tried to do pre-physical therapy at PG. And I did. And then I was gonna transfer to UMBC. What I realized was that I hate science, and I didn't know how many science courses were actually involved. And then on top of that, the courses that was at UMBC for that major, it didn't make sense to me. Like, you know, I'm pre-physical therapy, but they had me taking like public policy and health policy and things of that nature, aging for people, aging. And it just didn't make sense. And then how much I was paying like $5,000 a semester. So I was like, I just reevaluated where I was at that time, and I looked at Bowie. Bowie was $3,000 a semester. I think it was actually cheaper. It was $2,500 a semester. It made sense. And then they actually had something I was involved with where I could still keep my same passion, sports management. So still being around the love of sports and things of that nature.
So you graduated from Bowie.
Yeah.
And then did you go straight into sports therapy?
Sports management? Yeah. So while I was at Bowie, I had the opportunity to work with the athletic department, and it honestly was one of the best things that ever happened to me. So, athletic department. Yeah, so how that opportunity came about, I was Mr. Sports Management, at school. So I was up on the board for the club, involved in a lot of different things at Bowie. And an opportunity came where Bowie wanted me to have a show on campus, basically highlighting the athletic events, student life, that type of thing. So I met with the athletic department, the head of the athletic department, AD. I call him AD, but his name is Mr. Clyde Dowdy. I met with him. We had a meeting, and that first meeting did not go well. And I learned a lot. He learned from me, and I learned from him. What I learned was that I'm just a student. You have to sometimes listen to the other people in the room. Just because you have a passion for something doesn't mean that they're not hearing you. So he challenged me. And what he didn't know about me was that I like challenges. So he challenged me. He basically said, I'm going to give you your own show, but I don't think it'll be successful. And he similarly did something at the same time. And we just wanted to see, may the best man win. I ended up on top of that. And he had so much respect for me. And I had so much respect for him because of the opportunity he gave me and what he was trying to teach me. So, and then that turned into a job opportunity because he's seen how I worked. So he offered me a job or an internship. In return, they paid for my grad school. Beneficial. I mean, I got to see so many different things. I got to meet so many different people, network with different people in the sports industry, specifically CIAA. So it was just beneficial mutually.
So you didn't actually, I mean, that's great. Yeah, you did pay for your grad school, but you didn't actually receive like, physical checks or anything like that?
No, I did.
Okay.
So the way it worked is they paid for my schooling, and then I would receive a stipend for like a certain amount. So like it was $5,000 a semester, like a stipend. So they'll give me $5,000, but I wouldn't, at HBCU, you're not getting your money up front. You gotta wait. So let's say the school year started in August. I was not seeing that money till like February, March. Yeah. So you working like, all right, this money's gonna come. And then when it hits. So they back pay you and then you get your monthly. So it was like I had a part-time job or a full-time job at that time. And it's crazy to think I was actually working, I think basically
This was outside of the school?
Oh, yeah, so I was full-time in school. I had a full-time job, and then I had that internship and maybe a part-time. Wow. I was working. Yeah. I was doing a lot.
And then it was grad school.
Yeah, and then I went to grad school, and then it was full-time grad school, but same type of time.
So when you were done with grad school, which route did you go and say, hey, listen, I'm gonna stay here in the athletic department, or I'm gonna just continue my full-time job, or what route did you take?
Oh man, so it got tough. So when I was in grad school, my schedule got hectic. The demand was too much. I tried. It was where I was working. It was the times. So pretty much I would do my 9 to 5, go to Bowie, work 6 to 10. So by the time I got to grad school, I started with Bowie in undergrad. I think right before, like probably my junior year. When I got to grad school, they basically promoted me. I became a recreational assistant. So at first I was doing game day operations, and then I became a rec assistant, which means that for students that live on campus, we provide recreational activities for them. So they trusted me with that. Basically, I was gaining more trust in the department. And with grad school, it just was too much to juggle, full-time schedule, grad student, full-time job, part-time job, internship. It was just becoming too much, so I had to step away. They didn't like it, and I don't blame them, and I've been trying to find my way back ever since, and they like, nah, man, you left us high and dry. But no, it was because it just didn't make sense, and they knew that when I first told them. They were like, we're gonna see how this plays out, because I don't think it's, I was like naive. I'm like, no, I can do it. I couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. So yeah.
So when I met you, you were in your job as you were in pharmacy.
Yes.
That was after the whole sports situation.
That was concurrent.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So when you met me, I was in pharmacy, so I had just got introduced. I think our mutual friend, it really introduced me to pharmacy. So I had 2 friends that were working for CVS at the time. So while I was this was right when I first got to Bowie State. You remember the Baltimore riots?
Yeah.
Okay, so the Baltimore riots happened. If you recall, they burnt down CVS's. Okay, so at that time, I was actually in project management. And it just wasn't bearing fruit the way I thought it would. And CVS, my friend had told me like, yo, CVS is doing this, what do they call those things?
Like a job fair.
Like a job fair, yeah. So CVS is doing this job fair, and they was actually studying to be pharmacist. So they was like, yo, just just go check it out, see what's up. So I was like, all right, man. So I went, and the lady that interviewed me, man, she just looked me in my face and was like, I like this guy. You know, basically, I had no pharmacy experience, only project management. They were telling me like, you know, how does what you're studying for correlate? I'm like, yeah, it's in the medical field. I think that, you know, understanding medications might help, da-da-da-da-da. And man, she hired me because CVS was trying to do something for Baltimore. The reason why I brought the Baltimore riots up is that's the reason why I got the job. CVS was trying to give back to the citizens of Baltimore because they couldn't understand why the citizens of Baltimore burnt down multiple stores. I think they burnt down like 3 or 4 stores. So that was their way of giving back to the community, was really employing people. And I got lucky, I got hired. I think I worked for CVS for a few years. And yeah, so I was doing that while I was in school. So I was studying sports management, working at CVS and Pharm Tech full time. Then at that same time, I think by my junior year at Bowie, internship, CVS, everything.
So you never actually got to like really work in sports management, like?
No, I did.
Where?
So I worked for the athletic department. So coming out, so like I said, yeah. So I worked for the athletic department, right? I had opportunities to go to CIAA conferences, go to CIAA games. I had an opportunity to go to Duke and watch a game, right? Bowie State played Duke. A lot of people don't know that. Yeah. So I've been to Cameron Indoor, visited the locker room, seen Coach K live and in person. Nolan Smith. Not many people know who Nolan Smith is. Nolan Smith was a part of Duke. I think I know Quinn Cook too. I went to school with Quinn Cook. So knowing those guys, it was an extra plug. Got to visit the locker room, got to meet these coaches, got to meet, visit the legendary Cameron Indoor and tour.
Yeah. How much were you making as a Pharm Tech at CVS?
Ooh, okay, so I finessed the system. All right. At that time, starting was $10 an hour, right? Which from project management was a serious decrease at that time. So what I did was I was making $10 an hour, but they have a program, right? It's like you gotta get your
overtime.
Yeah, you gotta get your experience. And so I was making $10 an hour, and then I got bumped up to like I think 15. Then I transferred stores, got bumped up to 18, was doing really well, got bumped up to 22. So I wouldn't say that's the cap as a Pharm Tech. While I was working for CVS, I was making $22 an hour. But then I found an opportunity as you advance and grow into the pharmacy industry, I had an opportunity to make salary. So my final salary as a pharmacy technician was about $70,000 a year.
Yeah. That's solid.
Yeah.
When around, I want to say like 2 years or something ago,
2.5, 3.
Like 2.5, 3 years ago, that's when like I think it was like I want to say revolution in our circle. Everybody was like, listen, I'm about to level up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And around that time, we were doing Stuck in the Middle podcast. And it was just a flurry of people coming in and out who were doing amazing things. And I think now here, I didn't know you were actually doing project management in school. And that, fast forward now, you're kind of doing some of that as a Scrum Master now.
Yeah.
What was the influence, what was the motivation into getting and saying, listen, I got this, sports management degree at Pharm Tech. What was the motivation of leaving and going into it?
Man, I was hungry. So the motivation, honestly, it came from, a lot of the people we were around, seeing what they were doing, how they were doing it. What it was all about for me was really being able to fund not just a lifestyle that I want, but support a dream. I've always been passionate about sports, so you hear me now, right? I worked for Bowie State Athletic Department. I did these different things that people can't understand. Why are you talking about sports? That's my second career. So it's like I have two concurrent careers going on. I have my 9-to-5 career, which is if all else fails, this is what I'm doing. And then I have my dream career, which is I want to be a sports agent. So really what it was understanding that I need to be on this side, because this side is going to give me the financial leverage needed to chase after my dreams. And if all else fails, this is a career I'm comfortable and happy with. Mm-hmm. But that's what it was. I needed leverage, financial leverage to do what I need to do, still have the time and energy to do it, and invest in it. Mm-hmm. And that's what that move was for. It's just financial leverage.
Did you like know anything about Scrum before?
Absolutely not a darn thing. So the funny thing was, when I reflect on it, I was thinking about it today. One of our mutual friends, Ma, I recall we were in another event, right? Another podcast. And I remember the first time I heard that, she was like, yeah, I'm a Scrum Master. And I didn't pay attention to it. But then I was thinking about it, and I was like, that was the first time I heard about it. And that was years ago, right? And then I just started talking more and more to the people around me, got to understand it more. But one thing I understood is that it's not, you have to put time into it. A lot of people do a lot of talking and thinking it's quick and fast. Nah, you got to put some energy into it.
What was the first thing that you did? Like when you was like, listen, I got to level up. There's things that I got to pursue.
Man, I took a class. I asked questions. I took a class.
Who introduced you to the class?
Your family. So, so if I can be frank, AK was the one who was driving me. And he just got to a point where he got fed up about telling me about it. He was like, look, man, I'm not going to waste my breath on you anymore. Like, this is what you need to be doing, and this is what you're going to do. But this is what it is. So he told, I think, your sister, the one in Minnesota. Yeah, because you got a lot of them. The one in Minnesota. I forget her name right now. But, that's family. So she was offering a class, and I jumped on it. Yeah, I think it was like 8 weeks, twice a week, or maybe I think it was 8 weeks, twice a week. This was the time. This is how much you get in. No nonsense. You come here, and what she implored was that self-study. I'm coming here to answer questions and go over this material with you, but I'm not holding your hand. Study the information. Here it is. Come up with questions, and we can discuss them. And that's what it was. So for 8 weeks, she was really a driving force for me learning a lot of the foundations of Scrum. After the class, at the same time, that was the same time I was graduating from grad school. So at the same time, I was trying to, I had it mapped out. All right, boom, I'm going to have this, and this is going to propel me into my next career. And that's what happened. Literally, started applying, and
I think it's safe to put it on the record. How much was the class? 8 weeks.
I think it was 1,500. Yeah. That was then. I think it was 1,500.
So that hold that on the side for a second. 8 weeks, Scrum Master course, 1,500.
Yeah.
Was he tough? Like, was he tough? Was he hard?
The class or
the material in general?
Okay. At first, if you're not really paying attention, it can be confusing. But in all honesty, it's very simple. It's very, very, very simple. It's stupid simple. Yeah, so I think what throws people off is the terms. These are unfamiliar terms. Scrum is really a language. I mean, it's a framework, but unofficially, without me going too deep into it, it's really a language. It's learning how to communicate with other team members in your team. So once you are able to decipher and understand that language, it's very simple. It's very simple.
Was there any aspects of like what you have been doing previously, that you were like, listen, I could bring a little bit of the project management that I've been doing in sports management, or even as a farm tech, into Scrum. Yeah,
absolutely, yeah. I mean, at the time, right, I was getting my MBA. So my MBA, along with my previous work experience, it all tied in. It's really common sense when you think about it. It's really understanding how you work with a team, what's priority, what's not. I'm not, Scrum Masters, please. I'm just trying to dumb it down. Mm-hmm. It's very, very simple. It's a language. Once you understand it, are able to decipher and teach the next person, you fully understand the basics or the foundation of Scrum. But yeah, everything translated.
8 weeks passed. I assume at this time you started network, but after the 8 weeks, what was like your next step? Is it like, and you were still working at it during this time?
Yeah. So applying to jobs, man, and that became a new challenge. So what I found was that there's levels to this, right?
Break it down.
First level, getting your Scrum certification, understanding Scrum.
So there's a lot of, for people might be, there's a lot of different certifications.
Oh yeah.
Like I think AK actually got the wrong one at one point.
Really?
Yeah.
To me, it doesn't matter which one you get.
Okay.
It really doesn't, because it's all the same. In the sense that
is there like any gold standard one where it's like,
yeah, there's industry standards. There's an industry standard one, which is a certified Scrum Master from Scrum Alliance. Scrum Alliance. But what I found was that the material that they teach, just because it's the gold standard, doesn't mean that it's the standard, if that makes sense, right? Just calling a spade. I didn't get it from Scrum Alliance, right? I got mine from somewhere else, but I'm still a certified Scrum Master. I'm still, and that where I got it from actually went deeper into that knowledge, project management knowledge, than Scrum Alliance would have. And I've taken the course of Scrum Alliance just to make sure that ends are meeting. But yeah, it's all the same, no matter where you decide to get it from.
Was it hard? Was the test hard?
No. Yeah, once you understand the basic knowledge, then it should be straightforward.
Is there a fee, like, to take the exam?
Yeah. So this is where it gets really funny, and this is my thing about it, and this is what I want to share with people. We just talked about a course. I paid $1,500. Truth be told, I should have paid $0. Reason being is because a lot of the information is already out there. You just have to go and find it and be willing to study for it yourself. I can present you some of the basic stuff. I can give that to you, but it's on you as a person to really take that deep dive and make sure you understand the material. Some people pay $15,000 to $3,000 for a course, same 8 weeks, or sometimes even less, 3 days, right? Sometimes they do a crash course where it's only 3 days, and then they kick you out and go take the test, right? I don't think it should work like that. I feel everyone should be able to study on their own. The fee for the exam, there is a fee for the exam no matter what, and that's $500. So what I always tell someone who's interested in learning about Scrum is, if you pay more than $800 between course and exam, you've paid too much.
So was it tough finding like your first job? Like, how long after you took your exam did you get your first break?
Man, okay. My story's a little different. For me, and a lot of people go through this, imposter syndrome is real. In the sense that when we were talking to everyone tells you how great it is, how sweet it is, but deep down as a person, if you don't have that experience, you don't know how to speak to it, right? And that's where my challenge was I felt, even though I felt strong in my knowledge, I knew what I was talking about, if I got into an interview, could I be able to discuss what I know? And truth was, yeah, I was. It didn't take me time. Let me put it this way. It probably took me from when I got certified to when I got a job, probably took me 4 weeks. But the time I put in before that took a year. So to study for the exam, to understand the material, and honestly, I was BSing. And this is another thing that I tell people. Scrum should take you 3 months, right? Some people, they go back and forth, you know, life gets in the way. Your own self gets in the way, right? Your own self-doubt gets in the way. And I always tell people, no, just put in that time. Whatever you don't understand, you have a network of people, ask. There's YouTube videos, there's podcasts, there's all these resources that are out here to help you understand the material. And to be honest, like I said, the material is really simple. Once you get it, you'll be like, oh, okay. Yeah, it's really simple. So it took me a year just to understand the simplicity of that material. And when I finally got it, when I actually applied myself, 4 weeks. That's all it took.
What was your first big boy job, like a Scrum job? Because we know Scrum Masters make bag. Like,
yeah.
What was your first big boy like bag?
It came at the same time. So I was blessed with 2 at the same time.
Same time, yeah.
At the same time. Some people aren't blessed like that. So same time wise, I was at 270, 260, 270, something like that. Combined.
Yeah.
270K. So one was remote, fully 100% remote. So the first one, I think I got a month before, and then the second one came. So my first one, I was making 120. My second one, 150. Yeah, 150.
And those are the ones that you're staying currently.
Yeah. So right now, yeah, I still have them. Yeah.
What's like without getting too much like detail? What's like a day to day, like, you know, as a Scrum Master for somebody who's like, man, like I'm trying to get in this. I just want to know, like, what's a day to day? Is it a lot of you know meetings, communicating with your
It's a lot of meetings.
Is it a lot of personal work, deadlines and things like that?
It's a lot of meetings, a lot of deadlines, a lot of stuff. But it's not I mean, my day to day is really mostly meetings, right? Facilitating discussions with my team or different team members or different squad members. Trying to understand dependencies, removing impediments, blockers, you know, the same old Scrum language. That's really my day to day.
Is there like any challenge, like, you know, even
there's always a challenge.
Like getting to one, for example. It's not always butter, you know what I mean? Like, bro,
man, that's tough. See, I could ask you, what type of challenge do you want to know? 'Cause I got them. Let me say, like, okay, like for example, a challenge could be like this, right? You might have a team that's working on something. Like my team could be working on a particular app that we have to deploy, and our deadline this is real life, but a little details. We're working on the app. Our deadline for this app, we have to release it at the end of the year. But there's dependencies with other squads. So in particular, my squad is dealing with a certain subset of data. There's another squad that's dealing with their subset of data. Sometimes we might need that squad to complete a particular aspect of the work before we can complete ours. However, let's say my squad might be working on this. My squad may be 3 weeks ahead of the work that they're doing. That squad might just be getting into it. So now we have to halt our work in order for that squad to complete. But that squad has a priority themselves that they have to work through. So they might want to put our work on the back burner, which is holding up our deadline. Those are the types of challenges you got to remove. I'm really simplifying it, but something like that critical piece, right?
Yeah. What are some tools, like, you know, somebody trying to get into Scrum right now? It's like you got to know how to use the computer, how to log into Zoom, Meet, whatever. Just basic tools.
Yeah, well, Zoom is your daily bread. Zoom, Teams, whatever your organization uses. But typically Jira, and there's other tools out there, right? There's Jira, there's Raleigh, there's Confluence, there's version 1 of Visual Studios. There's different tools, right? Every org uses a different tool. Not all orgs are the same, right? Even in how they work. Some orgs might do it this way. Other orgs might do it this way. And it's really up to that org So my experience might be different than someone who else has been working for a while.
Is it like one of those kind of industries where, like in tech right now, you see like Meta laying off 10K people, Google, Microsoft laying off? It's like Agile, Scrum, one of those industries where it's like it's tight to get in right now. It's just like job security in it.
So at today present, I think COVID really, I don't want to say ruined the market. It saturated the market a little bit because everyone was looking for that work from home job. Everyone was looking for that, 100% six-figure job where I can be at home and be remote and not have to do too much. And that really messed up I don't think that messed up the industry. I think what really messed up the industry is the influx of people trying to get into the industry. And the lack of experience that really messed the market up, because what ended up happening is everyone tried to hit a get quick rich type of scheme with Scrum, and it just does not work that way. I mean, some people are blessed and have the ability to finesse. Most likely, most others don't. And that's really where the challenge was. So a lot of orgs was doing all of this hiring for people who said that they can do this, but then on day one, they didn't have that level of expertise, and it showed.
Yeah, but people can still get in Scrum today.
Absolutely, people can get into it. I would say it's definitely a market. There's always going to be a market for Scrum Master. I think the difficulty is now two things. One, the reason why the market is so saturated is because everyone's still stuck on 100% remote. A lot of orgs are moving away from 100% remote and either going to a hybrid model or a fully back on site model. My org, when I got in, 100% remote. Now they're demanding a particular subset of days that you have to be in the office. And they're finding that a lot of the Scrum Masters that they are capable or are willing to hire, they don't want to come into the office. And guess what? They're not hiring them. If you can't come into the office, if you're not willing to be on site and be on site and not remote, you're not going to find a job. The other thing is, my org in particular, they're really demanding. They're so demanding that they'll tell you blatantly that they don't want you to work for anybody else. And they will go to the furthest extent to find out if you are or are not working for someone else. And if you are, they will let you go. Because now you're dealing with not only privacy, but product, right? They have a certain product that they're trying to release to the public that you have knowledge about, right? And they don't want their secrets to go to different orgs. That's the thought process here. So those two main things, if you're not willing to work remote, or if you have multiple jobs, or you think you're going to get multiple jobs, those days are soon coming to an end. Those days are soon coming to an end.
What's like, are you like happy? Like what's
I'm
next?
ecstatic, man. My life is peaceful. It's like any job, right? The one thing for me that I'm happy about is that I'm not stressed. Pharmacy was a very stressful industry. I honestly don't know why people go to school to become pharmacists. I still think about it. Like, if you're a pharmacist, to all my pharmacist friends out there, shout out to you. You're a great doctor, like doctor whoever, but it's very stressful. IT, I don't have that. Yeah, you have deadlines, you have challenges. I don't even really want to say you have stress. It's just work. It's work. But the difference is that the stress doesn't come home with me at night. I might work a few hours over, but it's not, it's not crazy. I don't feel overwhelmed. I have my stressful days where, oh man, my team, we really got to meet this deadline and they're just not doing it. But those times come, and sometimes it's just not your fault, but the stress doesn't come home with me like it did in other places.
Can you share an inspirational story or moment? It could be from Scrum, can be just life in general that, or career that, is profound to you, has left an impact on you that you want to leave the people with.
Oh. I mean, the biggest thing, right, is like what I always talk about when it comes to people in the Scrum is that, what did I say? What's that word? Self-doubt, or what's the word?
Like applying yourself?
No. It's like when you're doubting yourself, when
yeah, like self-doubt, yeah.
Yeah, there's a name for it. Imposter syndrome.
Oh yeah.
Imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome, from what I've seen in this industry, is very real. Some people try to hide it, some people don't, some people are very straightforward. For me, IT is such a level up field that you learn every day, right? There's not been one day since I've been here, and I've been in it for a little while, where I don't learn something new, right? So what I implore people is, if you're going to take that course, right, don't let your self-doubt get in the way. Don't let that imposter syndrome get in the way. Go for it, right? If you don't know, ask questions, YouTube it, Google it. A lot of people don't do that. Podcast it. Those answers are out there. So for me, that's the biggest inspiration that I had to learn, was that, man, I was on my toes when I first got in. Like, something would happen, man, I'd be shaking in my boots. Till I had to understand and realize, like, no, you're doing a good job. You're doing what you're supposed to do. And that's the main thing. Do what you're supposed to do. Do what you're supposed to do. Don't let the imposter syndrome take control. And as long as you're able to do that, you'll be successful.
Legit. Charles, Scrum Master Project Management. Appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate you.